Governor Abbott says it's time for Texas to relax the state's pandemic restrictions.
We can continue to tame COVID until more treatments and vaccines become available.
Why he's letting some businesses serve more customers while keeping others shut out. More problems for people who need help from the Texas Workforce Commission.
We're at the last ends of our money. Our credit cards are gone. Everything is kind of zeroed out right now.
Unanswered calls and emails are keeping some Texans from making an appeal after being denied unemployment. Meanwhile, our investigators learned the state is trying to get back millions paid out by mistake. Hello, thank you for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle, and this week I'm joining you from my home studios once again as our crew continues to social distance during the coronavirus pandemic. This week we start with the Texas Workforce Commission on the hunt for hundreds of millions of dollars in unemployment checks it should not have paid out. Since mid-March, the TWC has paid more than $26 billion in unemployment benefits to nearly 2 million unemployed Texans. But as investigator Jody Barr uncovered, the state might have paid money to people who never secured benefits in the first place.
That's all it shows, July 15th, and essentially it's just a bill. Your monthly payment is past due. Please remit at once. This is $1,460.
Jonah Hernandez has spent the past 2 months trying to figure out how he got tangled up with the Texas Workforce Commission. He says he was never unemployed and never filed for unemployment. And that never hit your bank account?
No, that never hit my bank account. I've got the statements to show from the time that they claim this was issued, which was back in July, all the way until now. Nothing shows that I ever got that extra $1,400 in my account.
Hernandez has email and cell phone records showing he made multiple attempts to reach the TWC.
And so I tried calling, immediately get hit with the message that there's too many calls coming in, we can't, too bad.
Hernandez might not be alone. The TWC says it overpaid 185,000 Texans, more than $203 million in benefits since the pandemic hit in March.
An overpayment is caused when TWC pays unemployment benefits that you were not eligible to receive.
The TWC would not agree to interview with us on this issue specifically, instead posted this recorded statement to its Facebook page. The commission admits it does not make sure recipients are truly qualified to receive benefits before they're paid.
The bottom line is that our priority is to pay eligible individuals as quickly as possible. If we waited until all the information was completely verified, it would not meet federal guidelines.
The message to those with overpayment notices: those debts will never go away.
There is no statute of limitations on debts owed to the state, and TWC cannot forgive or dismiss the overpayments, and there is no exception for hardships. You must repay those benefits even if the overpayment was not your fault.
It just says, hey, payment's due in like a week from now, this is how much you owe.
You never asked for this.
Yeah, exactly. I never asked for it, and then to think that it is taking away from people who do need this kind of money, who do, this $1,400 could help somebody make rent this month. And then I hear about people who haven't even gotten money yet, who have applied for unemployment, and they're being withheld because they're not eligible. And it just seems like it's a whole mess now.
Well, the question now, what do you do if you're in Jonah Hernandez's situation? Since each of these cases are unique, the TWC says you're going to have to get someone on the phone to sort it out. But that's tricky when hundreds of unemployed Texans are telling us their calls to this agency are not getting answered. Many of those calls are now dealing with people who've had their unemployment claims denied and want to appeal. But let us warn you now, if you're planning to appeal, get ready for an 18-week wait.
I don't see the bees. I see these new bugs, though.
Felicia Armstrong and her sister, Sharita Rawls, spend their days entertaining their children and waiting on the state of Texas.
The previous ruling is we can pay you unemployment benefits if
Rawls was let go in March and went on unemployment. Weeks later, her company filed an appeal, which stopped her unemployment checks. After 3 more months of waiting, the TWC decided on the appeal, and it seemed like good news.
It tells me that I won my appeal and I'm due for my unemployment benefits.
But as of this date, not a dollar.
Not a dollar. July 3rd. here we are, September.
It says the appeals department has received your appeal. They are currently working on appeals submitted in early May.
Sister Felicia was let go from the same company in May. In June, the state denied her benefits, so she filed an appeal to show evidence why she believes she qualifies for unemployment. 90 days later, the TWC still has not scheduled an appeals hearing.
I just want to be heard. I just want to let them know my story. Right now, that's all. And I'm pretty sure that's what everybody wants. Texas they're not taking care of a lot of people. My story is a lot of people's story right now.
It's true. As of August, the TWC's already received as many appeals this year as it did in all of 2019. The worker or the employer can appeal a TWC decision to pay or not pay benefits. There are 2 levels of appeal. The first stop is called the tribunal. TWC records show last year it took an average of 32 days for tribunal appeals to be heard. By May of this year, wait times doubled, taking up to 77 days. If there's disagreement with a tribunal's decision, the second step is to appeal to commissioners. The wait times there are even worse. Last year, it took 132 days on average for commissioners to hear an appeal. When the pandemic hit in March, our analysis of wait times climbed to 158 days on average. The TWC tells Felicia Armstrong it's working on appeals filed in May right now.
Early December, hopefully.
Thank you for calling the Texas Workforce Commission.
Now, after hundreds of calls and emails to the state, both these sisters are getting desperate for help.
Reaching out to the TV station as far as we got now, and we feel confident.
Hopefully this makes a difference.
Yes, hopefully it makes a difference. It's unheard of, but hopefully it makes a difference.
Of the more than 100,000 cases appealed so far this year, 1/3, that's 31,000 appeals, do not have an appeal hearing scheduled. You're likely asking, what's the TWC have to say? Well, we asked Executive Director Ed Cerna for an interview, but he would not meet with us. I got a letter from TWC Chairman Brian Daniel a few weeks ago where he offered this explanation. TWC has experienced a 1,500% increase in the number of appeals filed weekly. The current time frame to process an appeal is 45 to 60 days. This represents a 150% increase from this time last year. But the people we showed you in this report and the dozens of people I've spoken with by phone tell me it's taking much longer, 18 weeks in some cases. We also asked Governor Greg Abbott for an interview to find out what he plans to do about the TWC's continuing troubles. But in multiple messages and calls to Abbott's office, the governor's office has not responded to any of our interview requests. Josh?
Thanks, Jody. We've been investigating these problems since March. That's when our investigative team started gathering more than 100 names of people who contacted us. We took that list to the Workforce Commission in July, and it worked. The agency tells us it has contacted nearly all of those people now. After that report aired, we heard from more than 700 additional people all across Texas. Last week, we delivered those names to the Texas Workforce Commission. We'll let you know what happens with that new list. You can find our investigation and how we've helped unemployed Texans in this story on the Texas Politics section of this station's website. TWC isn't the only place where Texans are facing busy signals and long waits.
Whenever you call, it's unreachable. Nobody picks up or anything.
The backlog facing nurses who need licenses to work in Texas.
The governor gives more Texas businesses the opportunity to expand operations during the pandemic. I'm Wes Rappaport at the Texas Capitol. I'll have that story coming up.
CDC data taken out of context, how a misinterpreted statistic is putting pressure on state leaders to roll back COVID-19 restrictions.